This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. Okay, I wanted to revisit an amp model within the Helix. You're going to find it in a weird place that you're not going to be expecting, unless you already know about this amp, in which case, sorry to repeat myself. So, the JCB Bassman is the preset that I'm looking at within my actual folder. The amp, if you look, is in with the bass amps, the US Dripman Norm. Now this is a silver-faced Bassman, and yes, essentially this 67, I believe, is the actual date of the specific amp they had, and this has a lot in common with a blackface Bassman amplifier, and I think it's actually a candidate for me for possibly my favourite sounding amp within the Helix altogether. It's got this really sort of like textbook Fender thing going on, and this is actually the Bassman circuit in particular is I think when Marshall started their thing, and as well the Bassman was kind of like where Mesa Boogie and I think Dumble started some of their circuits from as like a starting point as well. So if you want it really clean, you're gonna want to go kind of down below sort of 2. It's not going to be the loudest amp in the Helix either, especially these Fender amps when they're set really clean. You might want to consider possibly even doing something like this after. Or something like this where you boost the level on the cab, take this back down. But particularly if you're looking for really clean Fender tones, take this down. And it should have quite a bit of headroom then as well, so could we add in a drive? Let's add in like a tube screamer. So something worth bearing in mind, a Fender amplifier doesn't actually go from 0 to 10, it goes from 1 to 10. So things like if you wanted to be like the equivalent of 2 on a knob on a Fender, you have to be like below 2. Like there are charts that can show you this sort of thing. I'll try and flash one up on the screen. So that might be one of the reasons that you might find, if you're kind of thinking, well, this doesn't sound exactly like a Fender amp that I'm familiar with, that could be one of the reasons. Now, as you get up to about 3, that would be probably a bit close to sort of like, 3.5 on the amp itself. And that's where we get this really sort of sweet kind of thing starting to break up. Okay, one thing I should probably point out is that I'm using the Kali V30 with the 67 condenser, position 3.9. I've got a high cut at 4 kHz, so this is kind of shaving off any of the really spiky stuff. Of course, this isn't necessarily a traditional kind of speaker that you'd pair with a Fender amp. Maybe this might be more like what you might consider. And then you can see why I quite like this. It's got quite a smooth kind of mid-forward tone. I think the V30, Kali V30 is one of the best cabs in the Helix as well. So then we can start to creep up to sort of 5, and this is going to be where we start to get our edge of breakup, or even just breaking up stuff, but hopefully maintaining some really nice touch responsiveness, and it's going to hopefully shine if we're making pickup changes. Okay, I don't know if you're going to agree, but I think it's just got such a beautiful response. Up to 7.5, we're going to now be kind of cooking things a little bit more. Let's get rid of that volume for this. You've got that, non-master volume kind of cranked thing going on with it. Really lovely. Well, I think it's such a beautiful sounding amp. I've not even touched the tone controls there. Treble at 7.3, mids at 6.8. The bass moves in this particular preset. Let's just start from scratch again. And pushed amp here, you see the settings are as follows. other thing that you might want to do here is I've chucked a preamp in front, which is just the US double norm again, but using the same amp as a preamp in front of the amp, which is a bit of a mouthful. I think it's just a fantastic sounding amp model. You do well to get your hands onto that one and get it into your ear holes. JCB Bassman is the name of that preset if you want to jump into the Gumroad. That's what I was using in the intro. But get in and stuck into it yourself because it's just a fantastic sounding amp model. I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers for stopping by.